Fellas, episode 8, Jake the Rake. Appreciate you joining.
Let's go.
Big weekend football. Probably the best, debatably the best playoff weekend we've had since the playoff format started, right? Big Blue, there we go.
I think so, yeah.
Bias aside, two
aside,
great games. Yeah.
Great games. Big Blue pulls it on top. We'll talk about them, obviously. And then Washington, Michael Penix goes crazy. Did you guys actually stay up for the end of that game?
Yeah.
Oh,
wild.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what they did to our boy Dylan Johnson. Shout out Dylan Johnson. Hope he's all right.
Yeah. Do we have any status on him?
So he posted like an NIL video to his Instagram yesterday of just some it was like a car dealership or something. I don't even know. But he didn't talk about his injury. So I
saw an article that said they expect him to play, but you got to say that, right?
Yeah. For sure. Regardless, they're gonna say he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was down in Florida. I was running with some Michigan stuff, and this Ohio State guy legit goes, "Hey, OH!" And I was like,
all right,
man. I was like, nice, yeah. And he's like, no, seriously, room for the Big Ten. Great game last night. And then he started I say that he brought up the game with that when Dylan went down, and how he thought it was wrong. And I kind of see the fact that they had to burn a timeout, right? They had to burn one of their timeouts as an injury timeout, and they couldn't he's like, why couldn't they just get penalized and take it back 5? And that way they could utilize the clock. So that is one thing I've always thought, because they almost lost because of that.
Well, I don't even know if it was they had to burn a timeout. I think it was more that it just stopped the clock for an injury timeout.
That's
an injury timeout. Yeah,
Texas got to decline the runoff, and so it basically just gave them time to come back.
Right.
Yep. No, exactly.
It is crazy considering that game was wrapped up. They'd get the ball back with maybe 10 seconds left, no timeouts. They get it back with 40 something left, and trot down the field. And I mean I'll say this, Sarkisian's done a really good job, but I did not really understand a lot of those play calls at the end, especially that toss. He came out. Horrible. Yeah, he came out and said that was the third option there. They were looking for the tight end, and that makes sense. But the fact that even was what they're playing there and burning time, they got all 4 plays off, but by the grace of God, they got the 4th one off.
Yeah, exactly.
Second left, and if Quinn tosses that not as just a lob, a little dart to AD Mitchell, right? Just a little Stafford sling. I mean, he was there in the corner. That would have been crazy if they won off that. So,
and that's what I don't understand about the play calling at the end too, because they had 8 plays, man, where they chose to dump it off or try to dump it off in the flat 2 or 3 times, and it's I don't know, man. If it's me, whether it's Ewers or Sarkisian who you want to put the blame on, I feel like you gotta try to put the ball in the end zone at least 7 out of those 8 plays.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I still thought they were going to do it, though.
I did too.
I mean, I texted you too. I was like, give me a little live bet Texas.
Yeah.
Heights took them with 40 seconds left.
Why not, right?
Might as well. Washington's done that all year. I think they played 8 games in a row, has been decided by 10 points or less now. Mm-hmm. And so their MO has just been, we're going to get out to a nice lead, and then we're just going to let these teams come back, and maybe we're going to hold on. And so, because they did that against Oregon 2 times, they were up by a couple of scores, and they had this game had no business being close.
No,
the whole time, dude, whole time.
And it makes you wonder too, because Kellen DeBoer, man. Everyone talks about him, and deservingly so. Is one of the most underrated coaches right now. He's done a hell of a job, but it's man, we learned from Miami this year. You gotta just knee the ball, man, or whether you just have Michael Penix hike it and run around and throw it away, you can't be risking it, especially in a game like that.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. We'll touch more about that game in general, but we'll move right to Michigan. First one was the Rose
big
Bowl.
one,
the granddaddy of them all.
The granddaddy. SoFi, right, boys?
Yeah, Stephen A. smoking crack.
Yeah. Let's go. You got Herb Street with a nice take where the Natty used to be there every single year, got no qualms. I saw some asshole was like, "Oh, you're up in the booth. You don't have to deal with the 30-minute line bathrooms. You don't know what you." Yeah, he was trying to say the Rose Bowl's got bad facilities, but that was an awesome take. And then Stephen A. very next day talking out of his ass, saying, "You know what? We should just do the Rose Bowl in SoFi every year." All right, ESPN.
Rose Bowl is a stadium too. It's not even a game. It's a physical location. I don't know what he's talking about, man.
Yeah, I know. It's Rose Bowl Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. I like the aesthetic there of just the Rose Bowls. Like I'm with Kirk Herbstreit. That's as good as it gets, right? Like timing wise with the sunset, it was just awesome to watch. Game itself was crazy. Let's just start off with the first play. I mean, I thought it was doomsday from the beginning. Yeah, JJ comes out, lobs one, and the Bama, I don't know if it was a corner or who it was exactly, but they pick it off because he's just trying to throw the ball away. Just laissez-faire chucks it. And the man's foot was out by like this much.
Yeah.
But initially I'm like, okay, well, this game's already, look at momentum sucked out of the whole stadium. Yep. First play, no juice. You're giving them that was a horrible, horrible throw. But besides that, he did what he could. He won MVP, but we all know, and I think we all agree in this room here, it should have been
Blake.
100%.
Blake Corum. So,
I mean, MVP was O-line, D-line, Blake Corum. Give it to a unit, man, because like D-line all day. Like that is
D-line
MVP
for sure, man.
For sure. In the first half.
Right. I was saying, has that happened to Saban?
The first 3 plays, like that was crazy.
Right. And the first play, sack, and then I think on third down he gets sacked. Milroe looked lost out there, and it just showed for Big Ten. You know, we've seen the Big Ten get waxed multiple times in the playoffs, and the defense that's supposed to be like amazing that always the Big Ten brings in gets, especially Michigan when they play Georgia, and then of course TCU getting 51 put on their head. But no, I mean this defense is legit. Obviously, is the O-line and the best O-line in the country with Bama. Obviously, the center's already hit the transfer portal. There's some mistakes.
He couldn't even snap the ball.
Right. He couldn't snap the ball, but like that just speaks volumes. And that, I mean, if Michigan wants to beat Washington, which I think will be a really good game, we'll obviously touch on that coming up here in Houston on Monday. That'll be the way they can beat Washington. But yeah, it spoke volumes. Defense balled out. Special teams, not good. I mean, that almost lost the game numerous times. You had the muff punt right away, right? And then they switch out the punt returner for I don't know who.
Jake Thaw.
There it is, Jake Thaw. Yeah. And man, by the grace of God, you know, muffed it as well. And that could have been game because that could have been a safety. It could have been a touchdown.
I can't believe he held on to that. He got popped.
He got rocked.
Yeah.
I don't know how he kept on to the ball either. But, I mean, a lot of.
And I'll say this about him, too.
There.
Like, in that situation, there is one silver lining from that. Obviously, messed up big time. But it's like, dude, after it hit him, he could have like freaked out and not even grabbed the ball after that. Like, at least he had the sense to pick up the ball and have a chance for it to get down on the 1 yard line.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do that. They march down the field and, you know, they win the game. I mean, they go to overtime, obviously. And then within 2 plays, Blake Corum, that run was crazy. The patience he had there was nuts. And I got to give Blake Corum a lot of credit. I thought, you know, this year, you know, obviously he was injured last year. That was one of the reasons why he didn't declare. But he came back. Those who stay will be champions, and that might be the case for him. Mm-hmm. Got to give Blake Corum credit. Someone on air, Nick, comped him to James Conner, kind of. I hope he can be like that. That'd be awesome. I don't know if he's going to be that good in the NFL, but that is a good comp. He is kind of like a James Conner style back. The patience is crazy from him. So I think he deserves MVP. You guys all agree?
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I saw a lot of like people saying on Twitter that like on a lot of mocks, he's the RB1 now after that game.
Yeah, could be.
I feel like he's just ran too many plays.
He's got mileage.
A lot of tread on the tires. And
mileage,
this running back class, I saw Jonathan Brooks and him are going to probably be your 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I've seen that as well, but he's also coming off an injury, right? So it's, you know, obviously they heal up a little faster, and that happened mid-season. But yeah, those 2 will be probably the first off the board, I would assume. Jonathan Brooks just declared officially today for the NFL.
Now, I don't know if I sent it to you boys too, but a crazy stat is that Blake Corum has never lost any game he started as a Michigan Wolverine.
Wow.
Just something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was hurt last year. Yeah.
Yeah, against TCU.
Yeah.
Against TCU. That is nuts. Yep.
So that game comes down to OT. The boys do it, and then on 4th down, Bama's trotting down the field. Defense holds another bad snap, and it was an RPO. It looked like, and Milroe runs up the gut, which, I mean, it seemed like there was some panic there, obviously, and then the boys just crash in and stop them, and there you go. There's your Rose Bowl team.
So I saw what's interesting. So when I first saw that play, because I saw Saban, he did a press conference right after, and because that was like their 3rd play call, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that ended up being their 3rd option, and he's like, we ran a 2-point play there because it was on the 3, which is essentially where you run a 2-point play. And he's like, we thought we had the right look. He's like, we had gotten a look originally that we thought we liked. They saw it. They called the timeout. Then he's like, we got another look we didn't like. We called the timeout. And then he's like, we went and reran our third option. If we had blocked it right, I think we were fine. I saw a video today that they actually did block it right. The left guard was supposed to pull, like not trap, and he 100% did that. And they were hoping Michigan's D-line was going to crush down, which they did. But Jalen Milroe, probably because of bad snap, but also probably because he just played like an idiot all game. He just ran straight up the middle. He was supposed to go up the middle and to the left, and there was a lane.
I mean, when you're getting pressured like he was all game, you can't really blame him, There's part of me too that feels like on a last play of a game, in a game of that magnitude, it's almost like the scheme goes out the window. It's almost just like which athletes are going to perform on which side and who really wants this more. Because like you were saying, you're 3 yards away, you're right there. Like that's just athleticism versus athleticism at that point.
Yep. And he couldn't do it. He was getting pressured all game, couldn't do it.
Stewart.
Yep, there you go. And they get the stop there, and then Michigan goes on and Harbaugh goes up there. It was cool to see. I mean, he hasn't, like I was going to say, he hasn't won a bowl game since I believe his first year at Michigan. Florida in the Citrus Bowl. They smoked them, and then ever since then, they've lost all bowl games. So tip of the cap to Michigan. I think they get a lot of credit. They've got a tough task against Washington, but I mean, that's going to be electric. The only 2 undefeated teams now going against each other. Washington taking on Big Blue. Believe the spread's at 4.5. We'll touch what we like in that game. But yeah, we'll pivot. I mean, honestly, guys, unless you got anything else to say, amazing game. Yeah, Jake.
We were watching at this bar at our hotel in Mexico.
Yeah.
And right when the play was happening, like all the time I was having, we all had our arms around each other. Right as the play gets stopped, we just start screaming, and there's just a sliding door separating like a nice restaurant and where we were. And right as we start screaming, they slam the door closed. Everyone's just looking at us running around in this room.
That's awesome.
That's unreal.
I mean, they did the big one they needed to win, and against Saban, I think it speaks volumes. Yeah. Is this Bama's best team? Absolutely not. No. But that doesn't matter. Like, how many times? I think the stat was when Saban was up by a touchdown. What is it? Do you guys remember the stat that came out when he's up by a touchdown or up by? I don't know if were they up by a touchdown? Up in the
they were up.
They're up 7.
Yeah, they were. Up. It was 20. It was 20-13.
Mm-hmm.
Right, with how much time? Like 5 minutes left.
Yeah,
is that right?
It was like 4:40 or something.
I think he was 66-0. Like he legit just they don't lose, and the fact that they came out and win, even with like I said, special teams weren't great. Missed a field goal. Kid from Saline did. But it's the extra point. That's all that matters, and they go to OT. I'm glad they didn't pull Lions and go for 2. I was like, they're not going to do that.
No, I thought for half a second.
I was nervous though. I was nervous.
I thought for half a second, especially because
but they had dominated the whole game.
Exactly.
Well, so that's the thing, and I don't know about you guys,
huge
but
Jim Harbaugh move to go for 2 right there.
Exactly. And I could, at least for most of the game, I really couldn't get a feel on it because, like you said at the very start with the pick, I was like, oh, it's over. Then they got it back. Then they fumbled immediately, and I was like, oh, it's over again. And Bama had that 25-yard run with McClellan for a score.
Yep.
And I was like, they're just going to do that all day, and it might be GG's, especially because first quarter Michigan was trying to throw the ball the entire time. And then it totally switched, and Bama couldn't run the ball. Michigan could run the ball the entire day. And then it went to a pure stalemate. But I was like, they did the flea flicker. I was like, why are you doing this?
Whoa.
They did the lateral to JJ, which that one-handed catch maybe saved the entire game.
Oh, 100%.
And it's not throw aside. It's a 30-yard throw to a wide open guy that he
so this is what I want to say about the throw too, because I don't know if it was Udak or if it was Tarek giving some flack on the throw, being like, "Oh, wide open receiver, it's easy." Dude, he has Dallas Turner in his face rocking him as he makes that throw. That's an amazing play.
Yeah, no, because it was because Tommy sent the video and he goes,
Tommy!
Tommy didn't send the video and said, this throw is insane. The caption was generational arm talent, which is a crazy phrase. I know he's hyped up in the moment.
It was more of an athletic play than a crazy play.
Which is a crazy play. But again, what saved it was he made a crazy one-handed when Donovan Edwards threw the lateral pass, I was like, it's done. They're gonna
throw it to Water Boy. He's throwing it to Water Boy, bro.
And so I ended up. I texted you. I was like, "Give me Michigan money line," towards the end, because it was the very end as they were driving. I was like, it's finally switched, and they're just running the ball, sinking into it. But they tried to play another Michigan bowl game where they did everything they could to they got too cute with it. They tried so hard. But they were a better team. Their D-line was better, and their O-line was better. And, eventually once they got down to that, and it was just man-on-man football, and they prevailed. And so, great game. They needed it.
Yeah, I want to have my Michigan moment, my fan moment right here too, and just say all season long as a Michigan fan, I had to hear from rival fans about how this defense hasn't played a real offense, how they weren't the real number one defense in the country. All right, we know now that that's the number one defense in the country.
Oh, 100%. We also had to hear how Dak was like, oh, Michigan's not going to be able to run the ball on Alabama. Don't expect anything from Blake Corum.
Dude, I said, listen, time out. We recorded a pod last week that was not released.
Right.
And I said, before we started recording this one, I hopped on. I was like, thank God we didn't release that, because I don't think I've ever hopped on here and shot a pure 0% from the clip. Just so everybody, I did pick Washington to cover, but I said Texas is winning that game.
Yeah, we all did.
I said Bama is going to win. It's going to be close, but they're going to win by 3 because Jim Harbaugh is going to get out-coached by Nick Saban. Alabama is going to be just as physical, and they're not going to be able to run the football. I will say, I think Michigan maybe thought a little bit what I thought. They tried to throw the ball a lot. They put the game on JJ's back in that first quarter.
Yeah.
And then once they figured out, like, oh shit, we can run the football here, they were better. I was 100,000% wrong, but hey,
so man, who's
Michigan hadn't proved it in bowl games in the past, and everybody told me this year was different. But I'm sorry, it's been 24 years, and they hadn't totally given me a reason to believe it was different. But this was finally the game where they did. Like they were straight up better. They finally proved best defense in the country.
Yep.
Best run game in the country. And I will say one thing, also very nice for Michigan that Bama took out Georgia, because I think that took 100%. Everything that took everything Bama 100%. Had, like everything Nick Saban had in the clip. Everything that was Milroe's best game by far, because Georgia still looks pretty damn good.
And that's that, like you said,
good Bama team though. They beat Georgia in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like they beat that team. So a good team too.
And that was Saban going against, obviously Kirby Smart, which he's had his number, and that the fact Saban's the best coach probably of all time, right? I got in all honesty, and the fact that Harbaugh got this one, gotta give tip of the cap. They won the game. They had a better defensive plan, and like all the things aside, the Stallion stuff didn't matter. Like all the cheating, like that's the thing too. I got asked this, and someone
was at the game.
I know,
he was at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, he was so like space when it. Got asked this by someone on air today. They called in and asked. They said, they were a Houston Astros fan. They're like, Noah, as a Michigan fan, if they win the title, is it taking anything away? And I don't think that, just because specifically, like the NCAA stepped in, the Big Ten stepped in, and Harbaugh was not able to coach, and probably not just the 2 hardest games they had at Penn State, even at Maryland, where you're overthinking probably a tough game. They're not a bad team either. Like Maryland was a decent Big Ten team. That's a game you could just slip up, which they didn't play amazing in that game, and JJ was banged up. But the fact they did that all without Jim Harbaugh, if he's gone, I personally, we got to talk a little bit about that too, Dak, the whole Brian Kelly rumors. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
If as a Michigan fan, if Harbaugh were to go, let's say he goes to the Chargers, and that's also the thing too. If Harbaugh leaves, if he wins the title on Monday and Harbaugh decides to leave and go try out the Chargers, I don't really blame him at all.
Yeah.
He did exactly what he was, you brought a championship to Michigan, brought 3 consecutive Big Ten titles. Mm-hmm. Michigan is back to the top, like upper echelon of the Big Ten and of just like the North in general. So
other thing too is if they win it, and I'm pretty sure already I think he's got to be the first coach to make a natty in college football and make a Super Bowl.
Right.
I don't know what other coaches done
that. Jimmy
Johnson.
Jimmy
Johnson.
He did, but they didn't have a natty game then. It was still back with Jimmy Johnson.
BCS or whatever.
Yeah, there was no BCS yet.
Yeah,
there wasn't even a national title game. It was still like AP and coaches poll voting.
So I just am saying, like, I just don't think that there's that much of an asterisk. They did what they were supposed to do. It's not on the players. Like,
they beat Ohio State, Penn State without their head coach. They played 3 other games without their head coach. Connor Stallions has been gone. They did all this without him. I think Paul Feinbaum even said it on his show that like, and he was against Michigan on this
the
whole thing.
twisted AirPod.
That was crazy.
He was the first
Stuck
one to
in that
say
ear.
that Michigan, this would be tainted if they won it all. And he came out right after the game and was like, if you're
Gave him
trying
his
to take
flowers.
something away from this team, you're crazy, basically. Like,
Yeah.
I think people were saying it would be tainted because nobody expected them to actually go and win a playoff game. I think what everybody was like, all of your wins prior will be tainted because we'll see it again. You'll go lose your semifinal game, and then they'll be like, yeah, it was all the cheating and stuff. Now that they won, also stealing aside, Saban doesn't give a damn, dude. Like he would have been like he does not care.
No,
like this
he even
is
said he doesn't. Yeah,
No.
yeah. When it comes
Part
to
of the
Michigan
game.
Bama,
Part of the game.
when it comes to Michigan Bama head to head, like that's really what it comes down to. Not signs, not stealing
So
signs. It comes to preparation.
An interesting thing with Saban too. I was actually like just watching this before we hopped on tonight. He went on McAfee today, and they were like asking him like the main difference in the game, and he was like, a surprising thing was that Michigan was going in the huddle. He was like, a lot of teams don't do that. They were the first team they played all season in the huddle.
Yeah, because they get a read, he was saying, they'll call out right away what offensive set. When you're in the huddle, you got to wait till they break out and then hike it, and you have way less time to do so because you don't know what they're coming out in, and then you got to move around it. That was fascinating, but that's old school Big Ten football working for them in their favor, as at the NCAA and just football in general is more fast-paced, offensive-based. That was interesting. I saw that too, Stu. I thought that was cool that it's worked out for them in that way, like that old school boring Big Ten football, if you want to call it that. But hey, you just be bad. And I will say this too, going back to that, and why I definitely don't think there's even an asterisk is they got Bama, and it wasn't a Florida State. Like I know people wanted Florida State and call them for Florida State. As a fan, I was one who wasn't like that. I said, bring on Bama. If they're that good, prove it. And they've proved it thus far. We'll see what they can do against Michael Penix in Washington. Like a team that's just been doubted all year. I mean, we took the points in that Pac-12 championship game, but I think we all said, I don't know, maybe Dak, you were different, but you said Washington. I thought Oregon could pull it off the way they were playing. They just weren't dominant. But that Michael Penix and Washington is a very good team. Coach comes from winning championships at North Dakota State, and that's why everyone's kind of riding it. I mean, the man's been balling, and I'm excited to see them. We'll go out to Seattle. Michigan does, and I think it's early October. They got a crazy schedule next year. You get in Texas as well coming home, obviously week 2. But really excited for that. But yeah, any last things before we pivot to that game, Stu, or is that what you wanted to say?
That was the last thing I wanted to say.
Wait,
should we hit
what was your
UW real quick?
We should for sure. What was your? I thought it was going to be about Michigan. What was your hot take? Said you had a couple hot takes.
Or was that just about the fans? You've been hearing it.
My hot one was that so during the game, I think I agreed with you that JJ was playing like penis all game.
Yeah,
I take it back. I'm taking into consideration now, a couple days after the game, he was playing Bama secondary.
Bama secondary
hit all your throws,
Yeah.
and a lot of those were drops from the receivers. I think considering all of that, don't get me wrong, Corum should have been MVP, but I think JJ played a fine game.
Yeah, he did for sure.
First should have probably been an interception, if not for the toe.
For sure.
Oh,
he was being
terrible.
close to TCU at first, but he settled in for sure.
Yeah. Do you think he's coming back, or do you think he's going to the draft? Now, if they win the title,
he has to. Someone's going to.
You got to leave, right?
You have to go. Everyone's going to tell him you don't. After a title, you don't come back. Like that is. I don't know if quarterback.
That's the highest your stock will ever be.
Sorry, right. Carson Beck did come back. My bad. But besides Carson Beck, who's now 26 years old, no guy comes back when you have JJ's potential and like a potential first round draft pick and you win a Natty. Like everyone's like, you got to get out of here, man. It's
I think he's getting drafted by the Raiders. I'm sticking by that prediction.
Tom Brady.
My buddy Trent sent me a funny. I'll have to find the tweet, but it was he sent me a funny tweet about. It was similar to the Falcons one, where they draft JJ McCarthy.
That was so funny.
Yeah, he yeets the judge or whatever.
Yeah.
It was similar to that fashion, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a loaded quarterback class, and it sounds like Quinn Ewers is going to come back. I mean, especially after that loss, still think Quinn. We'll move to that game actually right now. Quinn didn't play amazing in that game, but you can't put that all on him. That secondary was getting completely torched, and that's what Michigan has, a great secondary, right? Like Turner's balling. It's an island out there for him, right? Didn't he not allow anything? Is that correct?
Will Johnson, yeah.
Johnson.
Yeah, he didn't. He got. I can't remember how many times. I think it was twice he got targeted and didn't allow anything.
Yeah.
But
They only threw the ball
he's a
10 times.
sophomore and he's probably the best cornerback in college football right now.
One of.
Pro Football Focus, they threw it out there. Like, is he the best cornerback in college football right now? Very well.
I think man corner. If we're talking like strictly man to man, I would say yes. I don't know about as in general, but man to man for sure.
He's going to have a tall order. Obviously, Odunze is very good. McMillan's really good. Polk's really good. And so it's not just one guy. Washington's going to do a lot, so it's going to be more difficult. Where Bama's not super pass heavy, obviously, with Milroe, and they don't have the same weapons on the outside now. But, I mean, nobody's been able to go at him pretty much all year. You know, Marvin Harrison didn't play a great game, despite the fact that they targeted him 12 times during that game, you know. So he's a beast, man. Will Johnson's real good.
Yeah.
And it was shocking though in this Washington Texas game that Odunze didn't get a tutty, heartbreaking for the boys. But I feel like he's got to get one in the Natty now that he didn't get one in that game.
Yeah,
he's totally good. I love that parlay. Was awesome.
It was
so good,
dude. I thought that was a lock. I did.
Same. I mean, Texas. We needed Texas money.
Oh yeah, we needed Texas money line.
Yeah.
It's not like that would have changed.
We really needed that game to somehow go to overtime.
Yes.
For real.
Yeah, that would have been ideal. So yeah, they win by 6. Again, we kind of addressed it early on. At the end there, the game was theirs to win. They could have just ran out the clock or at least given them what I think it was about 10 seconds, maybe less. But then is it Dylan? Sorry, the names are escaping me right now. It's Dylan
Johnson.
It's Dylan Johnson. Yeah, he goes down, gets injured. Sounds like he might play, but that was crazy. That was crazy. They throw it down to Jay Witt, massive play. They're moving down the field. I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's 1 a.m. East Coast time. I'm like, they might just win. They got all 4 plays off. Again, we talked about the toss was like the third option. Strange that was even an option. Kills 5 seconds off the clock. A couple not amazing passes. I just didn't really see what they were doing there. And the last throw, there's Texas fans in the office, obviously. They're like, well, he was draped over him a little bit. Yeah, but he made an athletic play, and the thing was lobbed up. They're not going to call that there.
No.
Not in that situation. I wouldn't. I don't think it was enough.
Especially when you lob it like that.
Yeah.
A
lot of time to get over there, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
AD's coming down with that, too, if it was quicker. 100%. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. AD didn't do a lot.
No.
He had like 30.
He had a tutty.
He had a tutty, but I think he only had like 30 yards or something. He didn't have a whole lot that game.
No.
Which was most surprising.
This about Washington's O-line, too. Like, I was giving him so much shit before this game. But, bro, and I also think I overrated Texas's D-line a little bit. I think they have some really good individual players on that D-line. I don't think as a unit they're necessarily elite.
Their edges are not that good. They're young. They're not that good.
Yeah, but Washington's O-line, I'll give them some flowers. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they do against Michigan's D-line. I think that's a little bit of a different beast, but they did way better than I thought they were going to do.
They're mobile in the pocket with Penix. They match him. Like the way that they move with him is they're so cohesive. They kind of know where he's going and what he's going to do, and he had all day.
They won the Joe Moore Award, didn't they?
They did. They won the Joe Moore Award, and we were saying that on the podcast. It didn't get released. Like, we'll see how that really looks. I mean, you're going against Pac-12 defensive lines. It's a lot different than Big Ten, SEC. But obviously, Texas in the Big 12. So
they didn't Washington still didn't run the ball very well. I think Dylan Johnson
not amazing.
He had like 20 something carries for only 55 yards, 57 yards or something. Yeah. So they didn't run the ball well. But I said if they won the Joe Moore Award, because I feel like that usually goes to like the best pass offense in the country, at least these days, whenever a quarterback has a crazy season. I think Michigan's won it before because they ran the ball out of their minds.
Well, Michigan, that award's newer, right? That award's only like 2 years old. And Michigan,
they always
2 times.
They always get I don't know if it's specifically Joe Moore Award, but they used to always give best like offensive unit, because I remember 2019 like LSU won it and stuff. So I think they've given like an offensive line one. But that's the other thing too, is it's just Michael Penix got the ball quick too. Got the ball real fast in tight spaces, super tight spaces.
He's elite at stepping up into the pocket, and that's why I think it's going to be interesting to see because I mean he's got Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant coming at him this game, so it's going to. And he had Tavondre Sweat last game, so I mean it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And Chris Jenkins, I mean,
Chris Jenkins is a beast. Yeah. Notice also on the sideline, I brought this up today. Like McConaughey was talking to some of the fellas, like, "Dog, what are we doing? Come on, man! Like, we gotta stop that."
All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
come on.
mid-game.
That's not all right.
My dad
Dude,
was like, "What the hell's he doing?" He was
It's
pissed.
different. It's different when he does it like week 1 or week 2
Playing
when it's
Rice,
and it's
yeah,
it's in Austin and he's walking down the sideline. He does
right.
the
Hanging out
slow
with
boat.
Bevo, yeah,
Yeah,
Bro,
it's
this
like
guy should not be
so-
talking to players in the biggest game of the
bro,
season, bro.
dude.
It's
It's
a
not like he
playoff
played
game.
there. He's in a frat at Texas. Like, dog,
I
come
know.
on,
Yeah.
whatever.
I love
like
McConaughey, but
I'll say I like McConaughey, but it's
I
like,
love
bro,
I like
what are
him
we
McConaughey.
doing?
too, but that's just that's
Yeah.
annoying.
Playoff game. This is to go to a Natty for the first time for Texas in 14 years.
I will say this with Texas, they are in the right trajectory. Like you can kind of take the blinders off. Sarkisian proved, not me wrong. I just was like, he's got it. They've gotten better every year he's been there, right? This is year 3. So he stepped up and took them to the playoffs. They got some experience. That's a team that's going to be competing for titles for a while. The recruiting class is insane. Why wouldn't you want to go to Texas now that they're in? Specifically, that was the one thing prohibiting them, was they're in the Big 12. And so now you're going the SEC. They're on the uprise, and then Oklahoma looks like
good schedule too.
Great schedule.
Texas.
And they get Georgia at home. That game will be electric down here.
Oh my God!
Come to Ann Arbor, though.
Got to come to Ann Arbor, right? And
Gotta come to
that'll
Ann
be
Arbor.
tough. But yeah, I just am saying with Texas, like really successful year. You win the Big 12, first time you've done that since 2009. You go off into the sunset, going to the SEC with that, and Oklahoma, the one other school you're bringing with you, is looking like they're on the decline heavy. Mm-hmm. Lost all their O-line. Half it went to the transfer portal. Some of them are going to pros.
Lost and then, QB.
Yeah, I would say Dylan Gabriel's now a Duck. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play in the SEC. I think they'll fare just well. I don't think they don't have to play LSU next year, right? No.
They do not.
No,
yeah, they don't play. LSU plays Oklahoma and then they weirdly play USC and UCLA.
Yeah,
not conference. I don't know where those came from, but
the thing I took away from Texas in this game too was that they had the roster and everything they needed to win this game. Unfortunately, they just got down super early and they weren't able to run the ball anymore because they were actually doing very well running the ball. Yeah. I think they were averaging like 7 yards a carry or something like that. But then you get down, you got to throw the ball. So it's just a tough game.
A couple fumbles. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that was not good. They were turning over the rock, and that's just
true.
They're down 10 like the whole game. So the fact they even got a shot to go win it was insane to me. But whatever. We'll move to the game. Unless you guys anything on that with Washington, Texas, we'll just move right into Michigan.
Yeah, we already talked the mess up at the end. I saw.
Natty. It is 4.5 is what I saw, boys. We liked Dakota, and I liked Washington points just because they have been the underdog, but Stu, Deck, and I all took Texas in the unreleased episode, the vault footage.
Thank God.
Yeah. I'm going to say it right now, boys. I'll just say I'll rip it off right now. I said this right away. I think they're going to cover as well. 4.5 is a lot of points. I'm going to pick Big Blue to win this one. I think it's going to come down to the wire, though. I really do. Now, Michigan could dominate here if they get to Michael Penix, but I think they're going to have some trouble. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to get to them than we saw with Alabama. I don't think they're going to get 5 sacks in 1/2. That was ridiculous. So, hey, we'll see. I'm going to go Washington again to cover here. I think Michigan wins by a field goal. Big Blue pulls it off, gets their natty. And I would, if I have to guess, I would assume that Jim Harbaugh is probably going to leave. I think the Chargers job makes sense too. Coach back in LA, a team you used to play for. And you got a guy like Justin Herbert, who is a beast. And you have, at that point, took Michigan to the promised land, got them back to where they need to be, winning Big Ten championships. We haven't seen that in years. Ever since the Big Ten had a championship game, they hadn't done it.
3 in a row, man.
Right,
First coach to ever win 3 in a row.
And in the state they're in, I think with Sharon Moore and the way that they played even there with him, I don't know. Jim Harbaugh is one of the better coaches just in football in general. As weird, as wacky as the guy is, and you can't really name many coaches that are better than him, especially in the college field. Where would you, I was having this kind of thing with my dad. I was having a little talk with him. Where would you rank Jim Harbaugh amongst college after that game? I think it probably puts him up maybe a spot or 2 amongst the rest of the college football world and coaches. Where are you ranking him?
So I thought that
was football coach in general or just college coach?
College.
I'm talking in the college landscape. Where would you put him?
Okay.
Stu, I thought that was going to be your hot take. I was ready for you to come in and say, I'm gonna just say it, boys. Jim Harbaugh, best coach in college football. I was fully prepped.
Not insane, man.
You said it was going to be a hot take that I didn't like, so I was like, I was like, oh, here we go. It's Jim Harbaugh, best coach in college football.
I got him. I think I'm putting him at 3. I'm putting him at 3.
Yeah,
I'd go 3.
Like resume wise, Dabo's just so bad right now.
Yeah.
He does, like, Dabo went to 3, had 2, and those were 2 of the best college football teams that we have seen in our lifetime. Like, that 2018 one when they gave Bama the nuts. And then 2016 was one of the best title games that we've seen
ever. Yeah,
Dabo was hands down number 2 coach in college football, and creeping up to say, like, quickly, like actually creeping up pretty fast because of the success that they were having. I just don't know if you can leave them at 3 because they've been stinky for 3 years in a row.
They haven't been competing for a title since Trevor Lawrence left. I mean,
no. So obviously it's recency bias, but I mean, we're saying in today's game, I put Jimmy at 3. I think.
Yeah.
I think Dabo's kind of an idiot too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the headlines every other week for something stupid. Like,
right.
For sure, bro. He's like the yang to Jim Harbaugh's yin, bro. They're like one and the same guy, but opposite.
But they both would say Jesus is a 5-star recruit. That is something I could. That is something.
JC, let's go.
Either of them saying like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what Jimmy said a couple of years ago too. He's like, I'll adopt all the kids. Like, I'll adopt.
That was unreal.
Yep. He's like, all those kids, I'll adopt all. Dabo would also say that.
So there
are some similarities.
Dude, I think Jimmy is Mike Sainristil's son's godfather. I could be wrong on that, but I remember hearing that somewhere.
Yeah, I put him at 3. I'd go Kirby 2, just for what he's done in the time being. Too dominant, and they legit have lost 1 game since what would it be 2021. So yeah, I'll go him with his natty ties. Yeah, resume wise, Dabo, but like today, the 4th of January, 2020.
Power rankings.
I gotta go Jimmy. Go Jimmy. Now, who would you put at like 5? Because I think you gotta probably put Dabo just because of resume. At 4, who's your 5th? Who's rounding it out? That's where I was kind of getting like, this is tough.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some like, oh shoot, dude, because I feel like the easy 5 just before this year was still Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, no way him.
I don't think
Lane Kiffin beat Bama.
I was thinking maybe Lane Kiffin.
Lane's up there. He's in. He's in the top 10. He's in the
yet?
Top 10, no question.
He hasn't beat Bama yet.
Not yet. No.
Yeah,
okay.
They got smoked by Bama again this year.
Heupel's just so new though.
Yeah.
But that offense for Tennessee looked really good. I know Iowa, dude, it's a good defense. And that freshman for Tennessee was tearing it up, dude.
Is DeBoer already 4 though? Like, could you put him there? Like what he's done in 2 years with Washington? How many games has he lost? Like 2 in total?
Oh no.
Yeah,
he's won natties with North Dakota State. That's not an
they
easy
won.
thing to do.
Yeah, they went 11-2 last year, and then now they're 14-0.
You already took him to the championship.
Like, I know, because I feel like
kind of crazy.
The recent
I'd probably say he's 5. I'd probably say he's 5. Yeah.
Oh, 5. That's
people are big on Dan Lanning.
Sure.
Yeah, Dan
Lanning. 5.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning's top 10. I think he's up there.
You can throw
Lane.
him up there, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other coaches.
But I think because like Lincoln, every time we went to the playoffs, he just got smoked, like absolutely worked every time Lincoln went to the playoffs.
I don't think Lincoln's even would be in my top 10 right now, to be honest.
He probably
would be like right at 10.
Borderline, yeah. 1 year, we'll see what he does next year. What's the rebuttal? You know what I mean? Because if Caleb Williams, I don't know if you guys saw that video where they played their bowl game against Louisville or whatever in a baseball field. But like I saw there was audio that came out of like the team because they smoked Louisville. And then as they're like leaving after doing a touchdown, like to the sideline, some of the players are going, yeah, we're a team now. We're a team now. And I think it was referring to maybe Caleb Williams, how it was the Caleb Williams show. And he's just a guy who's, if I'm the Chicago Bears, I've said it for a while, and as the days go by, I'm not taking that guy.
They're not drafting a QB.
He's a guy who's banging guys, right?
Oh yeah, I knew you were gonna say that after the tweet. You said it, tweet. I was like, I'm not gonna be the one to say it.
People don't need context for that. That's a TRC inside right there.
Yeah, and you just put it out there, though. You know?
Yeah.
They don't know the tweet though. They don't know the tweet.
They know the actions though. But yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that specifically up because it's good debate. It's like who's the top echelon?
So is James Franklin and Ryan Day in your boys' top 10?
No.
Ryan
Day has done nothing.
No. I'm biased, obviously, but also not that biased. Like Brian Kelly I put him over Ryan Day for sure.
Sure.
And I put him.
fine.
I also put
too,
him
yeah.
over James Franklin. Yeah.
I would too. I mean,
James Franklin.
I would take B. Kells as
I kinda like
Michigan's
James
coach over
Franklin.
No,
Keith.
I'm
So
a James
Kreitz,
Franklin
I said that at the
hater.
start of the
I
year.
hate
I don't
him.
hate.
I hate
Kreitz,
him.
I think you've rubbed off on me because you were from the get go. You're
Oh,
like, who's my least favorite coach on the planet? I was like, well,
Easily.
mine's Ryan Day. You're like, yeah, he's up there. James Franklin.
I can't
And
stand
I was like, I didn't
Can't
hate.
stand
So Jake, you might be
I
the
think
same
it's
way.
funny how bad of a coach he is.
Okay.
fair.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Like I'm big on following Ant Wright. I feel like you guys probably follow him too.
Yeah.
He loves James Franklin. Yeah, he loves him. Like absolutely loves him. So I was like, oh, maybe he is good after this year though.
No, he's not a good coach, but he's
not a good coach. No.
He's such a blowhard, bro. Like, no, I'm all set on James
Dude,
Franklin.
he's meant to be at a program, not like Vandy, but like a program just a little bit better than Vandy is where he's supposed to be. Not at Penn
I'm trying to
State.
think
man.
like where would like he could like end up that would make sense.
North Carolina State.
Dude, he's like a UCLA head coach. That's like where I see him.
Have we mentioned Mel Tucker?
No, we have not. Do you have something to mention about Mel Tucker? Oh, he's trying top 10.
He's
Yeah,
number
yeah.
one.
What do you think
That's
about him,
number
you know?
one right there.
Yeah. He's pretty,
In terms of value, he's
a
certainly
guy who
up
deserves a
there.
second shot for sure.
Mel Tucker is number one on a
misunderstood. He's
different list, if
misunderstood.
you know what
I
I
believe.
mean.
Yeah.
Mel Tucker. Yeah, no. So Michigan, Washington, we'll pivot. I like the 4.5. I like I said, boys. What do you guys? I want to go around the horn here. 4.5. Where do you like it? Michigan, Washington. Like I said, go on the points. Get Michigan by 3 here. I like the value. I think it's gonna be a great game. Battle offense and defense, two opposite kind of styles of play. Give me Big Blue though. I think they're gonna pull it off. I think this is the team of destiny. I think all the stuff, the Michigan versus everybody, that propelled them to. They were kind of meant, and even Harbaugh came out and said, I almost feel bad for teams, which is kind of funny. Again, he always says some funny stuff that they've had to deal with this adversity all year. It's like, dog, we've heard it all. We're going through it all. It's legit us versus everybody, and they're proving people wrong. So I gotta give Michigan their flowers. They balled out, and I'm gonna go Michigan by 3. Give me the Washington points.
I'm going the same. I think Michigan, the only team that has a chance to kind of blow this game out of the water is Michigan if they get up and they go early. I think I disrespected Washington last week. I legit the whole season. You guys can attest to this whole season.
Yeah,
those are my guys.
Yeah, I've been a Washington guy with you, man.
Yes,
like they're balling.
You have two. I bet on them against Oregon both times. Won money on them last week. Was the
preseason
first
to win
time.
the pack.
Yeah. First time I disrespected them. Not going to do that here. I'm picking them to cover for sure.
No.
If I had to guess, I think they do the same thing that they've done all year, where they get up a little bit early. At some point in the first half, not like nothing crazy, but I think they'll take a bit of a lead. But Michigan's going to be the first team that actually, when Washington inevitably starts to slow things down, get conservative, Michigan's going to come back. They're going to win that game. Only take I have is I feel like we haven't had a great Natty game in a long time. I think this is going to give us one of those.
We're due.
Yeah, and I hope we are. Even though we had great semifinal games, I hope we're due. It's going to give us like one of that 2017 game with the Tua Bama walk-off, or like 2016 with the Clemson walk-off. I think we're getting one of those. Like, I really do. And so, but yeah, I'm taking Michigan to win somewhere around 3. If it goes to overtime again, I'll take them by 7. But yeah, in that 3 to 7 range. But it's going to be pretty much tie ball game, I think, most of the time, within a point or two.
All right, so I'm going to keep mine slightly brief. I'm just going to take in this game for what it is. I'm going to try not to make too many crazy calls, but I'm a little opposite of you boys. I think it's going to be a close game still, but I actually have Michigan covering. I think it's going to be more of a thing where Michigan's going to get up big in the first half. I think the defense might be a little overwhelming for Washington. And then I think they come storming back third quarter, and it's more of a Michigan holds on to win type of game.
Okay.
I think they probably win by like 7, similar to Alabama. Like they get a touchdown late to go up and win.
Yeah.
And then the other prediction I have is Will Johnson interception, and then also Romo Dunze touchdown. Those are my other 2 big calls.
Yeah.
For the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Will Johnson interception. I think Penix is going to throw on this game. I got Michigan. I think it's going to be close. I don't know if they cover, honestly.
It's tough.
4.5 is a lot.
It's a lot of points.
But I think it's going to be pretty similar to that 2021 Michigan Ohio State game. Just we're going to dominate running the ball and control time of possession and just try to hold them to field goals and stuff. Like they're going to get their yards. That offense is awesome. There's no question about it.
No question about it. Best offense, probably. I feel comfortable saying that. Best offense.
I also don't think they're going to really be able to stop us.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
run game's going to be big, and I think Blake Corum might actually run for like 200 yards.
He might go crazy. 200 is crazy, but yeah.
I mean,
he's going to have a big game, man.
Washington's team pretty much is the same team as that 2021 Ohio State, maybe a little bit better. But that Ohio State team was loaded, and we saw what happened. So, I mean, Michigan's team, they're kind of built for this game in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. My dad and I are looking for tickets. Might be in attendance, still up in the air. My dad might fly in, and we're looking at it's just they're so
it's Houston.
I know.
Yeah,
so my dad
was like, what, $1,000?
What's the cheapest ticket right now?
It's like 800 right now. Yeah, so it's tough. But when it was Texas, like I checked right when we beat Bama, and it was at like 1,500. But now people for in Texas are obviously selling, so it's gone down a little bit. It's just I want it if it's 500. My dad and I had agreed if we can get one for 500, and I'm talking to some people at work that have maybe some access tickets, we might send it and just do it because why not?
I kind of want to go to. I'd be so down to just drive to Houston.
Go to Houston, yeah.
Because that's what it's not the same as like when the Natty was in New Orleans. New Orleans is way crazier than Houston. No disrespect to Houston, but it's
just being around it though. It's awesome.
Still being in the city for the Natty game.
Text Grace. Awesome. Text Grace.
Yeah, and this is the only time we'll bring it up on the pod. We're doing dry January.
We are, yeah.
If we went to Houston for that is the one time. Yeah, Topo. Yeah, just the
mineral water.
You are not. Neither is Stu.
I'm not either.
Yeah, but that would be.
I'm boozed as we speak right now.
That's an asterisk. We have an asterisk next to this. Good segue, Dak. That's how you segue. Asterisk next to Lions playoff game. We haven't gone since 2016. The Lions, they obviously clinched last week against Minnesota, getting the NFC North division, Kings of the North for the first time. They go down to Dallas. Stu and I are watching this together from my house to your house, watching with Pops, my Pops to your Pops. And the Lions, this is my Are You Serious?
We group hugged my dad.
Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, it was. You were jumping around. Oh, yeah, of course. We were watching it together. We were high-fiving, of course, man. The adrenaline was pumping. But Lions get screwed. Stu, I know you got a little pick for us. That's just my Are You Serious? Thank you. Are you serious? We'll keep this segment rolling. We know what happened, and the media's talked about it, whether they've been pro us or against us. It was some Mickey Mouse shit. I'm going to call it right now. And I talked about it in air. People, well, why they didn't need to go for 2. It's not about them going for 2. Do I think it was a little bit emotional decision for Campbell to not kick it when it went back to the 7? Yes, I would have taken the points. I would. I don't.
No, but then once we got the offsides,
that
was your third look. But once you got the offsides, it was like
I just was surprised. He was like, all right, we're doing it again. Not 2 shot because I knew Dan Campbell, he sticks to his guns. And that's what he came out and said. He said, we're going down the field and we're going to do it regardless. Now, he came out on 97-1, had some things for cookies over there. He said if it was past the 10, we weren't doing that, obviously. But he said in between the 10, we were going to do it. And I have no problem with them going for it. They got royally screwed by the refs. And the refs are not allowed to coach and are allowed to, the reffing crew is not allowed to ref for the playoffs.
Oh, I feel so bad for them. Yeah,
right. And that's their
refs lost their 1 seed, their 2 seed.
So to me, it's like, all right, well, the NFL at least is admitting something is wrong there. So they came out with a video and whatnot of, well, you got to do this again. It's sorry that our offense and even though Ben Johnson did not coordinate the best game in that 1-minute drill was insane with no timeouts.
Awesome.
Unreal. And which gives me confidence going into the playoffs as a Lions fan that they could just march down the field on any defense. Because that's probably the best defense we've played all year.
And JG doesn't do that all the time. He doesn't.
No.
That was
I'd say them and Ravens, yeah.
Ravens. The Ravens the best defense we played all year. Other than that, it's Dallas. And so the fact that they marched down the field and were able to do that was impressive enough to me. And I think, I saw Hutch went on the St. Brown's podcast. It's just fueled them up. And I think if any team needs it, anyone needs it, it's the city of Detroit. They need some adversity. Yeah. They need some juice because we're getting a lot of love. And they got screwed. It is what it is. I hope if we get a chance at them in the playoffs, it sounds like we might be, as of right now, obviously playing the Rams. I would like to avoid the Rams if possible. And they might be. They're sitting everyone this week, guys.
Yeah, they're sitting everyone.
Everybody.
So are the 49ers. So
I know, but I'm taking the Niners a home game with Sam Darnold over Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's out, best player on defense, no question, right? Obviously. Cooper Kupp's out. Koren Williams is out. Then you got also Staffs out. Is Puka playing? I don't know.
He
Maybe
needs 29 more yards to break a record.
So he's going to play. And
Doncic.
Yeah, exactly.
Puka Doncic, yeah.
Did you guys see? He said that his favorite part about going into the facility every morning was just saying hi to Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford.
Wow.
Just walking in and saying hi.
Yeah.
That sounds like a rookie punishment answer.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. They always eat breakfast together. I know they've done that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the Breakfast Club. Colin Cowherd loves that.
They love. Oh yeah, he loves that. But yeah, so I think the Lions will be all right in the playoffs. I hope. To be honest, I'd rather not play Stafford. I hope we get Green Bay. If Green Bay wins and the Rams lose, they have the head on, and so we would get Green Bay at 6.
Yep.
Now it's gonna be the Bears are looking more legit than they ever have, and defense is tough. Yeah, and I think that obviously they want that. That's their biggest rival, probably one, if not the second biggest rivalry in all football that actually exists still. Probably Eagles, I'd say Cowboys at this point, maybe.
I was gonna also. I mean, Steelers, Ravens.
Forever. Those are the 3. I'd say those are the big 3, right? Yeah. So I mean, this is
trying to compare the Bears to Lions of last year right now too.
And listen, I mean,
they're in the same spot right now.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not saying. Sorry, not team-wise. I'm saying going into this game, like the Lions.
No, yeah, for sure.
Granted, it was only hours before, but like we were like, okay, we're no longer in the playoffs because of whatever happened with the Seahawks.
Right.
And again, it was just hours before, but it was like now we still get to go play spoiler. Bears are in that same spot.
I don't think the Bears are winning 12 games next year, though.
No, I'm not saying team.
No, but they're probably going to win. I think they're going to be the second best team.
They're going to be competitive for sure.
I think they're probably going to be the second best team in the NFC North with what they're going to do. If they take Marvin Harrison, if they trade one, I don't think they're going to take.
Even if Minnesota gets a QB.
Their defense is not that great, and I mean, they got some weapons, but the O-line's question. They have no running backs.
I think the NFC North in general just is going to be a lot better next year.
It was more impressive than I thought it would be. For sure. This year,
the Bears are keeping Eberflus, and so that's the one thing that could for sure put him in a choke. Yeah. He turned that defense around, which
defense is good.
That's what he was out there to do, obviously, but he could it could put him in a bad spot like weeks 1 through 6.
You got to get rid of Eberflus before
that guy's not winning you a Super Bowl. Yeah, Eberflus ain't winning you a Super Bowl.
No,
Dan Campbell, you could see him winning a Super Bowl. I literally cannot envision Eberflus holding up the trophy.
No. But I think that obviously there must be some cohesiveness with him and Fields, and then you get another receiver for him, and maybe an O lineman or a D lineman. It seems pretty good. Like they're getting better. So.
Sweat was a great trade. That was an awesome trade for them.
One thing I'll say too, I might have like recursed the Lions just for that game. I think I sent the text to. I know I sent the text to my buddies back at LSU. I think I sent it to pretty much every group chat that I had. Whenever that Dallas and CeeDee Lamb had that fumble go out of the back of the end zone or like right next to the pylon, I was like, that never, ever. And that was a big turning point in the game. I was like, that never happened. That is a Lions play. Mm-hmm. Like that's something that happens to the Lions. It would have been one of those things where it's like for the Lions, it would have been over.
Yep.
Like over the pylon.
Two touchdowns. I think they'd been up 2 touchdowns, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I meant like if that was the Lions, it would have been over the goal line and then we would have gotten screwed. And so I texted, I was like, it's finally okay, boys. We might not be cursed with that. I totally forgot. It's always end of the game with the ref. Mm-hmm. Like my bad, so I'll wear that one, and I'll never think that way again. The curse is always looking to creep its ugly head out, but hopefully not in the playoffs.
Jerry Jones is making a call.
Oh, it's Jimmy Johnson night. Like I said, Jimmy's making the call. We're not losing 3 in a row.
Are from Texas too. In that
Jerry Jones wasn't on that Epstein list, was he?
Wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't put it past them.
I think we're gonna see him pop up there once or twice.
It's a big week for him. We got January 6th coming up too. Like this is Jerry Jones' week.
This is his week.
It's like his time, and so he's making his rounds. Obviously, they had to give him a gift.
Yeah.
So,
what's the over under on football guys on the Epstein list? How many football guys do you think we're going to see on there?
Football guys,
like just guys tied to football. How many you think are going to be on Epstein list?
Minimal, maybe 1.
Minimal. It would have to be owners, but like
yes,
current day owners. I don't know how many.
Dude, Carolina. What's Carolina Panthers owner's name again?
Tepper.
Tepper could be
Tepper with the Tepper tantrum.
Oh, got to be honest. I think Robert Kraft's on there.
Robert Kraft is on there.
Robert Kraft will be on there.
I was going to say Dan Snyder is. I would be a little surprised if he wasn't.
Snyder, yep.
Yeah, that's one that's for sure on there. And there's definitely some other
Mark
ones.
Davis.
I'm gonna say no.
I don't think Mark Davis is.
No?
I don't know.
Mark Davis is broke. Like he doesn't. Like he legit doesn't have the cash. Like
You
he's
know who
barely.
I'm
barely holding
praying
on
we
to the
see
Raiders.
Tom Gores on there. That's who I hope we see on
Oh,
there.
Yeah. Same.
That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
I never
agree.
hoped to see anyone on there.
Right,
obviously.
but it happened. You know, there's a list.
If Tom Gores was on
There's a
there,
list, man.
You know,
Adam
Stephen
Silver
Hawking.
could step in. You know, maybe a little, get him out of it.
I have one other alternate. Are you serious? I'd love to show this. If you don't mind, Stu. We got a little video.
Oh yeah. Let me throw it up real
Speaking of a
quick.
guy who might be on that list.
They did a good job. You know, you give credit where credit is due. You did a good job of the sports, the things that we have going on defensively.
You guys will be able to remove one element that's been working against you last month as you turn the calendar.
Wild guy.
What is he?
Brushing his thoughts.
Brushing his
His thoughts.
Oh man! All right, LeBron's on the list. He's a good guy. He's for the schools. He is for pro kid, like not in that way. He is
For the
pro
kids.
for the education. For the education.
Hey,
It is, and it was we had some crazy things said today on our episode. Some of those guys on the Epstein list. You see Stephen Hawking's?
Yeah,
The ADA compliant over there at the island. That was there you go.
that doesn't even compute in my mind. There's no way that like one of the smartest men in
Shoot
human
it on his
history,
keyboard,
he did not
man.
know what he was getting into.
Man,
Like,
we
you
got-
know,
You want to come to my
I
house?
don't know. That's like,
Maybe we should just divert the rest of the island talk.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
All right, boys. We had a whole
That's what I
segment
mean.
where we're like, we were getting really crazy today, but whatever.
That's
We'll end with that.
I like it.
That was good. Yeah.
Hell of an episode. Thanks, Jake. Let's get you back on, pal, for the next one. We will hopefully
After that
see
Michigan
Michigan.
win.
Yeah, I say Michigan lifting the trophy. We all got Big Blue. So hopefully we see it. This was episode 8. The reaction committee. We'll let you know a little bit after the football season happens. We're gonna get a little creative. We're open to some ideas segment wise. We're gonna get a little different. We want to keep this going even in the off season. So maybe pivot a little more to the NFL is what we're thinking, and maybe get some NBA and whatnot in college
And
basketball.
some other like even random segments.
Random stuff.
Yeah.
Guys on stuff as suggested by some of the listeners.
Yeah,
Guys on
comment
stuff?
on some of our reels if you want to see more stuff like the continents, because that was a
continents
fun
is
one,
good.
honestly.
Yeah, we'll come up with
Continents
some
was really
stuff.
fun.
Guys on
Yeah.
stuff.
Guys on stuff.
All right, boys. Hell of an episode. Go Blue. Hopefully, the holding up the title in Houston. Been a good episode. We will see you next week.